Nintendo finally gave us some new information on the successor to the Nintendo Switch, and hey, it's good news for a change. Apparently there was a big Nintendo corporate meeting, and it was here that they revealed some new features that would be featured on their new console whenever they decide to finally reveal it. This new information was also shared over Twitter via one of Nintendo's official accounts there, and the post reads as follows. This is Furukawa. At today's corporate management policy briefing, we announced that Nintendo Switch software will also be playable on the successor to Nintendo Switch. Nintendo Switch Online will be available on the successor to Nintendo Switch as well. Further information about the successor to Nintendo Switch, including its compatibility with Nintendo Switch, will be announced at a later date. Try saying successor to Nintendo Switch 3 times fast. All jokes aside, I'm actually pretty happy with these announcements. I really haven't talked much about my opinions on what the new console should be, but this is definitely a good way to start things. I think they absolutely had to have backwards compatibility in this thing. There are so many Switch games, and it's a massive library that I think was able to help solidify the reason to buy a Switch. There was just everything there. And I would think it's probably a safe bet to say that most Nintendo Switch owners probably own a good share of games. With the price of the games probably all jumping from $60 to $70 when this thing finally launches, there are probably going to be people really hesitant to buy brand new games when they already have a shelf full of stuff to pick from. I think what they might try to do here, and this is based purely on my own speculation, is I think they might try to launch with just a handful of games, maybe 1 or 2 that are considered must-plays. And I don't know why, but my gut is telling me that the new console is going to launch with a new Super Mario game. It always was kind of odd to me that Super Mario Odyssey was so well received that it just didn't make any sense that it got no major DLC. I thought for sure that Mario Odyssey 2 was a guarantee, but I was wrong. I don't think a Super Mario game that wasn't part of the new Super Mario Bros. Line has launched with a Nintendo console since the Nintendo 64. I think Luigi's Mansion was a launch title for the GameCube, but that was a spin-off game and not part of the proper line from Mario 64 or Sunshine or Galaxy. I think considering that they started the Switch with Breath of the Wild, and it's somewhat wrapping up with Tears of the Kingdom, sort of bookending Zelda for the Switch, maybe shifting the focus back to Mario for this new console is the right way to go. Maybe if there's a new Super Smash Bros. Game in the works, you could go that route, but until they show us actual hard physical proof that there is a new Smash Bros. Game coming, I'm just going to assume that franchise is dead for now. So backwards compatibility is absolutely a great thing for this thing to have, and so is the continued support for Nintendo Switch Online. I'm hoping that means that NSO will be on this new console in the same form that it's in on the Switch right now, meaning they won't start over. It's the exact same thing, the exact same catalog being accessed, everything will carry over. That's what I'm hoping. I was worried at first they may scrap Nintendo Switch Online and come up with a new catalog and then just drip the games all over again. That would have been a nightmare. I do think it's interesting though that they're not changing the name of the service. It's still going to be called Nintendo Switch Online, even though it's going to be on this new console as well. And I think that might be hinting at the name of this console a little bit. Why would a new console have access to Nintendo Switch Online? I think they're going to try to stick with the Switch branding for this thing. It's been a gigantic success for them, and even just the finger-snapping gimmick has sort of become very endearing to fans, and I think if they can get away with keeping it going and just give a similar name to this thing and keep the train rolling, why not? That's the thing about these console names, is that sometimes it's worked for them to carry over a name and other times it hasn't. The NES to Super NES seemed to have worked, but the Wii to Wii U did not. I actually remember seeing commercials for the Wii U on TV where the entire point was to try to explain to people that this was a brand new console and not just another version of the Wii.
Wii U is an entirely new technology and true successor to Wii. Just look for the U on the box.
Needless to say, those commercials didn't really help the Wii U that much, I don't think. And it just ended up being a massive failure of marketing on Nintendo's part. But the important thing is that Nintendo Switch Online is sticking around. That is very good as well. And hopefully they will continue to add games, because there are still a ton of games that have not been added to this service yet that really need to be. I'm also kind of hoping that they will bump down the Nintendo 64 and Game Boy Advance catalogs to their basic tier instead of this expansion pack. Maybe to replace those, they could introduce the GameCube or Nintendo DS catalogs. I don't know if those will ever show up or not, but it's nice to think that they would. And finally, even though they don't give us any specifics here, they're seemingly teasing that the Switch and this new console will have some sort of connectability, and that could open up some interesting possibilities. I guess it makes sense, considering that this is going to support NSO as well, so you would be able to play online against people regardless of whether they have a Switch or the new thing. It's also sort of given me the feeling that this console really is going to be a better version of the Switch, because if you're gonna be able to play Nintendo Switch games on it, if it's gonna have Nintendo Switch Online on it, and if it can connect to Nintendo Switches, then there's a good chance it's going to be extremely similar to a Nintendo Switch. But the thing is, we're not going to get any answers to any questions right now, because they are deciding to just take their time with this reveal. What do you guys think? Are you happy to see backwards compatibility as a part of this thing? What about Nintendo Switch Online? Would you have cared whether this thing supported that service or not? Let me know in the comments what features you'd like to see this new console have, or maybe some games that you would like to see announced for it. Thanks for watching this video, I really appreciate it. If you want to support the channel, hit that subscribe button if you haven't yet, and be sure to like this video. You can also donate to my channel over on my Ko-fi page, and you can get some perks if you become a member of the channel. Now, I'm gonna go see if I can say Successor to Nintendo Switch 3 times fast without biting my tongue off. Successor to Nintendo Switch, Successor to Nintendo Switch, Successor to... Crap!